Yeah, I think Boots Ennis did an excellent job in his fight over the weekend. A lot of fans have started to question his ability to take shots and his defense. And for some reason, I've heard that same thing recently with Terence Crawford the last couple of years when he took shots from guys like Avanesian and um, the Mean Machine fight and Sean Porter fight. People say he took a lot of damage in. For just trying to make the fight exciting, just having strictly a toe-to-toe fight, switching the style up, showing that he can brawl as well as box. I feel like those guys switching their styles up, because Boots could have easily went out there and did what Shakur Stevenson was doing and just box on and counter punch and just be reactive instead of proactive and just trying to look for certain shots and things like that. Like Boots really went for it. So I don't understand why he got so much backlash as far as that. That kind of confuses me overall because that's what we want in boxing right now. We don't have a lot of guys who's looking to finish the job in the ring, especially against the guys who are at that level. In Avanesian, he was a good replacement fight for Cody Crawley. Very tough fight, for Avanesian to step in, especially to be one of the guys who was a tough fight for Terence Crawford. Even though he ended up getting stopped by Crawford, he was a very tough fight. And for Boots Ennis, it was the same thing. Kind of surprised though. I didn't think people would say a lot of stuff about Boots Ennis' defense. That kind of caught me off guard. I feel like his defense is pretty good. He's not somebody who really looks to just take too many shots. But overall, I don't know what they're gauging it on. But one thing I do know is he's basically going to get compared to Terence Crawford, no one else. Which is a shame because a lot of other boxers don't get compared to Terence Crawford. Like Virgil Ortiz or well, it was kind of like they was trying to do it with Virgil Ortiz, but they don't do it as much anymore. I don't know because he went up a weight class, but he's still in the same weight class as Terence Crawford. So, I mean, Virgil Ortiz could easily go out there and fight Terence Crawford. I mean, I don't know why that's even a discussion. That's something that he said that he actually wanted to do. He felt like he would have a better chance of having a shot at the belt before these other guys, especially like Majramov and everything else. I mean, I can agree on that, but at the same time, that's not really an easy fight to really make right now. That's a fight he could have made in the past, possibly. I'm thinking that fight could have been made. But if Virgil Ortiz is not really interested in making it, or he's trying to figure out what weight class he was in, so he had a whole nother situation going on. But I feel like him and Boots in the future is going to be a good fight. But Terence Crawford, he's getting lined up with everybody, but people are trying to circle Boots and Terence Crawford right now for reasons I know why. There's a lot of fans looking towards Terence Crawford and Boots in this fight right now because they feel like that's the only real competition that these guys actually have. They feel like everybody else that's around that weight class right now is not real competition. Because from what I've seen, you don't hear nobody else name being mentioned with Boots Ennis except Devin Haney or Terence Crawford. The reason why Devin Haney name get mentioned, I don't know why. But the only reason I know why is because he fights basically everybody that these guys want to see. I mean, he's basically fought everybody on tape right now. He has a video basically of fighting everybody that you can name. So the only one they don't have on video is him and Boots. But everybody else, you have them on video as far as with Haney. You even got him and Tank on video. You see, people not talking about that no more. So yeah, things really go away pretty quickly when you know this boxing stuff. And this is why people understand now why I've been saying over the years But I don't want to talk about Haney and Tank sparring video because people are not talking about it now. It wasn't a big deal like everybody made it seem. Especially Tank. I'm like, yeah, man, I had him out on his feet. He was I cracked him and all that other stuff. Come on, man. We seen the video, wasn't none of that going on. I told everybody. But overall, man, Bruce Ennis, he's somebody who's definitely trying to put his best foot forward, man, because he knows he doesn't have a lot of time at 47. Eddie Hearn wants him to go for undisputed at 47, which would be smart. He knows that Canelo is basically going to have he's the highest bidder for a Terence Crawford fight. So Eddie Hearn knows, man, like, yeah, I know the fans they all saying, oh, we want to see Boots versus Crawford. He's like, I know that's fine, but realistically, Boots, he'll fight Conor Benn or somebody before he fights Terence Crawford right now. That's the way Eddie Hearn's looking at it. Just because he knows if anybody gets a chance at Terence Crawford soon, it's going to be somebody set up at 54. You know, they got a little situation going on at 54. So it'll be one of those guys at 54. But then it'll be like a Canelo situation. He's still trying to definitely fight Canelo. Because of the way the business is going right now, it's kind of isolating Terence Crawford out of a lot of situations. You know, he could have possibly already been on his way to 54 undisputed if he would have already been in the mix and had that situation going. But he wasn't. You know, Canelo ended up going with Charlo. But the whole situation now that I realize fans are saying in agreement without saying out loud is they know that Bruce Ennis will fight anybody right now. They know Terence Crawford will fight anybody right now. They know Devin Haney will fight anybody right now. They know that Ryan Garcia will fight anybody, I guess, right now. Even though he's suspended. It's certain fighters they know they'll fight anybody. Teofimo somebody. He'll fight anybody right now. If they paying enough. A lot of these guys ain't paying enough when it comes to Teofimo. He'll fight anybody. Just gotta pay enough. Yeah, certain situations. Yeah, Teofimo's definitely put out numbers out there though when it comes to fights. Yeah, but they know it's certain fighters they'll fight anybody. That's why they say, oh, we want to see Haney with this guy and that guy and rematch this, and because they know Haney will fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? You can't really fool certain fans. You know, I don't understand these fans these days who insult fighters. But then they spend the best days of their life or the most important days of the week watching these guys. Saturdays, late nights up watching these guys box who they don't want to fight, watch box. Like, honestly, when I was when Pacquiao was boxing back then, I wasn't watching every Pacquiao fight. Joshua Clottey and all. Man, come on, man. I was a real boxing fan. I knew better than that. I wasn't watching that stuff. Yeah, it was a decent fight, but come on. I wasn't watching that. And the only reason I watched the Jeff Horn fight because it was on ESPN, it was on TV already. But other than that, no, they just know that these guys will fight each other. That's why they ask for certain fights. Like, oh, y'all just got to see Boots and Crawford. Yeah. And they want to see Boots X'd out, too. They want to see Crawford lose, honestly. Because I don't know how we go from Canelo having the best fight in boxing with Crawford to now everybody's saying, oh, I just want to see Boots versus Crawford. And usually the people that say that are the same people that said, oh, the only fight I want to see is Earl Spence and Terence Crawford. That'll let me know who the best. Like, bro, I was asking for Boots to fight these guys way before Crawford and Spence was even getting talked about like that. Like, do we know that? Back then, Boots didn't even have a beard. Now, Boots' beard is all the way out long, and now people talking about some, yeah, man, I want to see, like, y'all don't remember Boots when he ain't had no beard? Like, he ain't always have a beard now. Yeah, Boots ain't always have a beard, man. Like, these people don't understand that. Like, he's already been out here. But a lot of people was saving Boots just in case Terence Crawford beat Earl Spence. And they're like, okay, well, like, technically, Terence Crawford ain't even supposed to be dealing with Boots. Because he's supposed to be fighting, in my mind, I thought he would have been fighting Charlo by now. And a lot of people were saying Tim Tszyu. Everybody was just saying Tim Tszyu before Tim Tszyu fought Fedor. That if Tim Tszyu win, Tim Tszyu versus Crawford is next. Then the cut happened, and everybody was like confused now. Like, oh man, I thought the fight was gonna happen. I didn't know the cut was gonna end up. What? You didn't know the cut was gonna end up doing what? I mean, first of all, he lost the fight. And second of all, he can end up running it back or get another shot down the road. But at the same time, like I'm gonna say before, that fight wasn't even supposed to be happening in my mind. I was more so looking towards Charlo in that fight. I was thinking in my mind, okay, Charlo would end up fighting Terence Crawford if the Tim Tszyu fight don't happen. I was like, I'll definitely go with Charlo in that fight. Because if he don't fight Tim Tszyu, then, you know, that'd be crazy. So I was like, yeah, I'd more so go with that. But Charlo hopped in the ring with Canelo. And once I knew that happened, I knew that the whole 154 division was going to get reset. If y'all don't realize it, man, not too long ago, Charlo had just sat down. Terence Crawford and Spence was finna do a rematch, like everybody was saying. I knew that wasn't gonna happen, but everybody said it was gonna be a rematch. And now with this situation, you got Jaron Ennis. He's turning around and got some steam going. Now everybody's saying, well, let's get the energy we had for the Earl Spence thing and put it towards. It's backwards thinking. It's really backwards because Terence Crawford he hasn't even been a mandatory that long for Boots. So that don't even make any sense. Boots was already making the moves as far as trying to make a fight with Earl Spence way before fans was even saying anything. That's my whole thing about it. Like, I was one of the only ones. That's why, yeah, Boots was already the mandatory for Spence. And called him out at the fight he had with I want to say it was the Castillo Clayton fight. And he was like, yeah, I want the big fish. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, Boots calling out Earl Spence? Whoa. I didn't expect that to happen. I'm like, man, Boots want that smoke. Man, ain't nobody come out here and said Boots want that smoke, man. Nobody. None of these guys sat up here and said Boots want that smoke. And Boots sat up here and called out Earl Spence while he was sitting in the crowd. Yeah, but a lot of people wasn't really calling out the whole situation with Boots and Earl Spence being mandatory. I feel like they was playing favoritism on that one. Because, yeah, they was trying to unify and everything else, but the fight with Manny Pacquiao and everything else, yeah, Ugas got rewarded and everything else during that fight, but if you really go back and look at that fight, they could have easily had somebody like Jaron Ennis jump in the mix and make that fight, and could have had him and Earl Spence fight. But yeah, that would have messed up everything if Earl Spence would have lost to Jaron Ennis. So, but nobody was really calling for that fight though. Like I said, with Terence Crawford, all I'm seeing now is people wanting Terence Crawford to fight everybody's mandatories. Tim Tszyu was Charlo mandatory. They wanted to fight Tim Tszyu. Spence was Jaron Ennis was Spence mandatory. They wanted to fight Boots. You know what I'm saying? So you got Benavidez mandatory Canelo. They want to fight Canelo. They want Terence Crawford to fight everybody else's mandatories. While these guys in boxing do nothing. They sit around here and some of these guys is passing out at weigh-ins and stuff like that. I ain't heard nobody calling the fighter who just passed out at the weigh-in a weight bully. Not one person. But y'all watch boxing every day though? And y'all calling people weight bullies? Y'all ain't never seen these guys fall out at no weigh-ins? And we calling fighters weight bullies? Bro, these guys just now falling out and we calling them weight bullies? I don't know if people understand how crazy that is. They calling these guys weight bullies. Yeah, but that whole situation could have got solved with just some quick action by PBC. That's all. The Danny Garcia fight. Around the time they had the Danny Garcia fight with Earl Spence, that was supposed to be around the time that Jaron Ennis was getting a chance at that fight. Then after that, it got dragged out. He had the situation with the eye last year. Well, not last year, but the year before last. And late 2022. That was the whole situation. But it didn't really get solved like everybody thought it would, because Jaron Ennis still wasn't a mandatory that got any attention towards his way. He didn't really get any attention, and he was a mandatory. But people didn't really focus on that until now. It's like, oh yeah, we need to get Boots a fight now. Man, Boots should have been had a fight with one of these guys at 47. That's a top 147. That's why he left PBC. And you know what's funny? Turkey on the sheet, he really exposed everybody who was saying, you need to sign a PBC to get a fight with this guy. Man, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Certain guys ain't got to sign with PBC to get no fight. Canelo ain't had to sign no deal to be with PBC at all. He did a fight deal, and it's going to be up in a minute. And the last one was on DAZN too, so we really gonna say that's just PBC fight? Let's get out of here. So all that you gotta sign the PBC stuff, that ain't true. And I know people say, oh well, that's Canelo. Well, nah, we're not finna do that. There's certain deals that Canelo ain't getting. Certain ones he can't get. It's only certain people that's getting certain deals right now. I mean, y'all will see over the next couple of years, man. It's going to be some certain deals that certain fighters get. Especially fighters who's not stuck under contracts. Because I see a lot of people trying to do that now. They think they slick, but it's a lot of fighters now, they trying to not get stuck under certain contracts. So they doing a lot of moving around and stuff. There's definitely a lot of moving, shaking going around. Yeah, they don't want to be stuck under certain contracts. So they'll just say, oh yeah, I'll just move on to another situation or whatever. Which is fine, but like even if Boots promoter wouldn't have passed away, he wouldn't even be out of his contract right now. I think that's another situation people are not understanding too as well. But I think Boots is an extremely talented fighter though. But it also shows that I don't even have to ask people, oh yeah, do you think Boots is good enough to fight Terence Crawford? I think that's a waste of time even asking at this point. They already know it. Because they're not naming anybody else to go out there with Terence Crawford no more. I'm not hearing no Tim 2 talk no more. I'm not hearing Fandora. The Canelo talk is like so-so, which is cowardly. I think it's extreme coward. I think it's very cowardly, man. For them to like barely mention the Canelo situation, I just think it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overdoing it, but yeah, I think that whole situation, they're just doing too much when it comes to that. Just too much going on in that situation. Yeah, but it just goes to show that they know at this level right now, Bruce Ennis is the only person available that's good enough to defeat a guy like Terence Crawford. That shows how good Terence Crawford is. I don't know why he's not getting mentioned as #1, the face. I mean, all the faces of boxing, or guys who's even close to the face of boxing, guys are mentioning with Terence Crawford, or even people they want to consider with Terence Crawford. I mean, look at the guys like Benavidez and Tank. Even their name get mentioned by certain people. I'm not saying main fans or good fans. I'm talking about even certain people mention their names. Like come on now, y'all will watch it. People acting like Terence Crawford wasn't just 10 pounds above Tank. They acting like he 500 pounds heavier than Tank Davis, which is kind of funny to me. They acting like he's way bigger than Tank. Like, oh no, Tank need to stay away from him. So that just lets you know. And they saying Devin Haney a weight bully, but you'll be okay with Tank jumping in the ring with him, but not that whole situation. So that just lets me know right there, okay, all right, man, Terence Crawford at a different level. He about almost the same size as Devin Haney. And people sitting up here saying, oh, nah, I don't want to see nobody in the ring with him, just Boots. Oh, well, okay then. Boots. Not hearing Virgil Ortiz no more. Not hearing Tim Tszyu no more. Which is fine. I knew that was going to happen, but I'm not hearing that no more. Yeah, that's all I'm hearing right now. So I'm hearing Canelo. It's my Jamal guy. Then I'm hearing Canelo. I'm hearing Boots. And that's it. But people just said recently, all I want to see is Terence Crawford fight Earl Spence and possibly Charlo. That's it. But they didn't really think about Charlo, but they didn't think Terence Crawford was going to win. So they didn't really think about those fights. They just thought like, okay, well, if it could happen, I would like to see that fight. If it could happen, that would be a good fight. If it could happen. So they didn't really think it'll happen. But now it has happened. And they're not really saying much about it, which is fine. But it just goes to show that they don't believe that what they say sometimes. Especially when it came to that situation. Terence Crawford showed everything in that situation. They do not believe what they're talking about. They got extremely afraid when it comes to naming certain fighters now. They don't want us to stick them in. And Terence Crawford will fight anybody that fans name. That's the funny part. That's a real boogeyman. He really gets up. Oh, you want me to fight Boots? Okay. You want me to fight Spence? Okay. Canelo? Okay. Nobody else is doing this. Especially at that age. If dudes ain't doing this at 36, I ain't trying to hear it. Canelo can't even do it at 33. So I ain't trying to hear about it at 36. I want to see fighters do this at 36, man. These guys ain't even doing this. Like, what level are these guys actually on? They can't even compete no more. I don't know if people understand that. Like, what level are these guys actually on? And y'all gonna find out very soon, man. Watch. Yeah, Bruce Ennis. They better hope that Bruce Ennis get in the ring with Terence Crawford, because if he don't, he gonna expose everybody else. Yeah, that's what a lot of people just want. They want to see Boots beat Terence Crawford because they didn't feel like Terence Crawford is a guy who is that good. Like, a lot of people feel like he can't be that good, man. They feel like he really can't be that good. And then a lot of people, they don't feel like Boots is that good. So, and the bad part about it is, it's only these guys they want to see fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody else, they have no other options for these guys. But they'll sit around and tell me how these other fighters are pound for pound, they're the best. But when you mention Tank, none of these guys on pound for pound get mentioned with Tank. When you mention Terence Crawford, none of these guys on pound for pound get mentioned with Terence Crawford. But they'll tell you how these guys on pound for pound and how this guy's the face of boxing and everything else. But then they'll turn around and say, oh, well, I need to see Boots in the ring with Terence Crawford. Like, bro, come on, man. Y'all ain't never sat up here and said the new guy on the scene is the person that needs to be tested against certain people. Certain people y'all will say that arrived already, and certain people y'all won't get credit for. I'm starting to realize that. Like, people give themselves a reason why they want to give certain fighters credit. Which is wild to me. I never understood that. And it's starting to happen a lot more now. People like, oh yeah, I want to give credit to this guy. So, Avenesian, I want to test Boots against Avenesian. Terence Crawford got him out of there in this amount of rounds. You didn't give, man, what I don't like when people do that, they didn't like when Boots fought Avenesian. They didn't like when Terence Crawford fought Avenesian. Now when the Boots fight come up, people want to say, oh, we're going to measure the Terence Crawford performance. Like, man, let me tell you why that people who did that are straight up liars, and they don't like Terence Crawford. Because when it came to that situation, when fans was doing that with Porter versus Spence, when they was saying, okay, we're going to try to measure Sean Porter's performance versus Spence against Crawford, see how he does against Crawford. Then what everybody said, oh man, y'all just doing that. Spence ain't even the same fighter as he was back then. Already making excuses. And people sat up here and said that Sean Porter's dad threw in the towel because he gave up on Sean Porter and he let him down and everything else. All kind of headlines. You know what I'm saying? Just to make these analogies and reasoning behind why Terence Crawford is that good. At 35, they just found out. Now 36. They're like, oh, well, he need to fight the best. I thought the guys that y'all was talking about was the best. I thought not too long ago, bro, I was hearing people say that the guys at 147, Terence Crawford ain't fought nobody. He need to fight Sean Porter, Spence. He ain't fought the real guys at 147. Now, everybody crying about how 47 ain't got no talent. And the only person that he need to fight right now is Boots. Now Boots said, man, I'm finna focus on 147. Terence Crawford like, okay, I'm finna find some legacy fights. Man, why the fans ain't asked for these fights a long time ago? Why y'all ain't want to see Boots fighting Terence Crawford when I was calling for these fights? Why y'all ain't want to see Boots fight Earl Spence when he was calling out Earl Spence? Boots was calling out Earl Spence and ain't nobody said nothing. That's what's kind of wild to me. He was calling out Terence Crawford. I mean, Earl Spence. I remember I said, man, there's a lot of fans out here who's fans of Earl Spence. Because I'm an Earl Spence fan as well. But I'm like, man, there's a lot of fans of Earl Spence who sit up here and say, I want to fight Terence Crawford and everything else. But they would not say nothing about Boots calling out Spence, though. Called him out. I want the big fish. He said it. Then the interview guys, just to make sure that they like, okay, did Earl Spence hear that? And I know PBC was trying to line that up. What everybody said? Nah, I ain't trying to fight Boots. I ain't trying to fight Boots. Nah, I ain't trying to fight Boots. He need to fight. He need to do something else. The same excuses that Earl Spence was getting is the same excuses that everybody else was giving to Boots. The same excuses that Earl Spence was getting when he was coming in to 147. Now Boots getting all them excuses. So I see how the game goes now. I just want to see how long people gonna play that game. Because I definitely feel like Boots gonna end up exposing something. Cause these guys, the way they moving now, it's fake, man. It really is. It's fake. Because they know Boots been trying to fight guys like Earl Spence. But now for this fight to have all kind of talk around it, and for people to act like this is a new thing, come on, man. Like, that's what's going on right now. It's like, it's a special group out here that just want to see Terence Crawford lose. Like, he's already challenging himself more than the rest of these young guys who ain't been doing nothing. That everybody been talking about the face of boxing, pound for pound, top 5. All these other guys is, they sell these kind of tickets and they promote pay-per-views. And I'm not talking about no Tank either. I'm talking about these other guys y'all be talking about. Y'all be bragging about all kind of fighters who ain't did nothing. Then you'll mention somebody like Boots and y'all be like, oh, this guy, man, these other guys ain't did nothing either. They haven't even jumped in the ring with an Avenesian. We just had Munguia fight, what, Dervinchenko, John Ryder, Canelo, and everybody act like he made it. So let's be real. Because a Canelo fight does that for you. You fight Canelo, everybody act like you made it. Nah, man, getting beat up by Canelo don't mean you make it. That's the standards we got in America. We don't have low standards like that. That's why people are asking for Boots to fight the best right now. We don't save these guys for down the line and, oh, you ain't ready and who have you fought and all that other crap that y'all try to tell Benavidez. Why y'all ain't doing that with Jaron Ennis? Why ain't nobody running around saying, oh, who has he fought? Oh, well, he needs to. See, another thing, too. I see how people try to make it seem like, oh, well, Jaron Ennis, he knocked out Avenesian in this time. And y'all didn't say that knocking out Avenesian was impressive when Terence Crawford did it. Y'all seen Terence Crawford knock out Avenesian, made fun of him, called him a bum, and you still went out and picked Earl Spence to win by knockout. By knockout. And hoping that he get a rematch. What Earl Spence doing? I don't know what he doing. They don't know what he doing. Now I know what Earl Spence doing more than what they know. These dudes ain't no real Earl Spence fans, man. They just want to jump on the side of somebody, which ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? You always got to support somebody. That ain't the bad thing. The bad thing is trying to make it seem like Terence Crawford ain't that guy. Yeah, they made a big mistake saying that. Yeah, he's definitely on that level. He's definitely on that level. But I don't know if Jaron Ennis is I don't know if they're trying to make Jaron Ennis a substitute for the energy they have with Earl Spence. That's kind of what it looks like. Because I see a lot of people that's not really giving Terence Crawford his credit as far as what he's done in the game up until this point. Have not gave him credit what he's done in the game. But they'll sit around here and try to give Jaron Ennis credit as far as, oh yeah, he beat David Avenesian. Yeah, everybody else don't get credit for beating David Avenesian, though. Everybody else don't get credit for beating the David Avenesian. That's what fans and the media got to realize. Well, the media knows this. Terence Crawford don't get no credit for knocking out David Avenesian. They still talk about the gloves. That's why I'm glad Boots Ennis got him out of there. Out of there. I'm so glad Boots got him up out of there. So glad. Tired of hearing about them gloves. Oh, man. Crawford had them gloves. Oh, man. David Avenesian, get out of there. Them gloves ain't... Yeah, get them up out of there, man. Pack them on up. Yeah, Jaron Ennis did a public service right there. Getting that guy up out of there. Talking about them gloves. Crying about them same gloves. Same pair of gloves. But I feel like Bruce Ennis is doing a good job, man, in what he's bringing to the table right now. It's just a lot of people not really appreciating the greatness. They're ready to get these young fighters in America and have them fight in the middle like pit bulls already. It's good to make rivals grow, but man, let these guys hit the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, let these guys hit the scene and make something happen real quick. It's like every week, people have a new fighter for Terence. I don't feel like they understand what really goes on in the boxing game these days when they put certain names with a guy like Crawford. Like, these other guys ain't did enough, man. I tried to tell people over the years, like, VENMO ain't did enough to be mentioned with a guy like Terence Crawford. Like, what's really serious? It's not really that important to me. But people will sit up here and say, man, you know, VENMO's on this level. On this level with who? Who level he's on? Man, come on, man. Don't mention that guy with Terence. Because my thing is, if VENMO's on that level, mention him with Boots. He's going up to 147, right? I want to see VENMO fight Boots. I definitely want to see VENMO fight Boots Ennis. That's a fight I will be calling for. That's a fight I will be asking for. That's a fight I want to make happen. These guys, man, y'all been talking about over the years, they got to show and prove, man. They got to get in the ring and prove what fans are actually saying. All that boogeyman stuff, it ain't. To be honest with you, if y'all don't get, if people don't get Boots in the ring with Terence Crawford, he is gonna look like a boogeyman. He will for sure look like a boogeyman. If they don't get him in the ring, a lot of people not mentioning his name, man. Starting to realize that a lot of people not calling him out, trying to make some fight with him. Not hearing a whole lot of back and forth. I heard Virgil Ortiz say, yeah, we can make that fight down the line. But it's definitely not a bunch of names being mentioned with Jaron Ennis. It's not a mistake. I already know it's not. These guys don't want to jump in the ring with a guy like that. Too much of a threat, man. So what they have to do is they have to put a guy like Terence Crawford in the ring with him. I mean, it's a good strategy. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. Let's get Terence Crawford in the ring with him. Even though that fight could have been made years ago. So, like, that's the big fight in boxing now? Like, what's up with all this talent? So, we've been waiting. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, we've been waiting around for Turkey out of sheet to make a fight with Jaron Ennis versus Terence Crawford. So, when that fight happens, and let's just say Terence Crawford wins. Let's just say Terence Crawford wins. What does that do for Jaron Ennis' career? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these fans, they kind of like, yeah, let's just get them out of the way. Like, bro, y'all should have this energy for Canelo and Benavidez as well. Like, it's certain fights they just want to do like that. Like, they don't want to do every fight like that. That's why I really don't join in and ask for fantasy fights. I just like the fights that actually will happen. So what actually could happen is guys is actually at 47 right now fighting each other, which looks like VENMO is going to be there soon. Terence Crawford is not going to be at 47. He's fighting a 54 who was huge right now. And that's basically the goal he's going to try to meet. And that's what he got set as far as to be champion and undisputed at 154 and possibly fight Canelo Alvarez. Now, if people feel like Jaron Ennis is better than Canelo Alvarez, that's something y'all need to be mentioning then. Because if y'all don't want to see Terence Crawford fight Canelo, it's almost like people are scared. So are people scared of Terence Crawford fighting Canelo? So people don't want to see that happen? So is that what's really going on? So they're not mentioning that. They don't want to see Terence Crawford fight Canelo. That's the real issue. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Because the reactions I'm getting right now, don't sound like people who want to see Terence Crawford fight Canelo. That's not the energy I've been getting from fans lately. They've been kind of talking like, I hope it happens, but it doesn't have to happen. which is kind of weird. I mean, any fight that you want, you would hope it happens. So, and you would wish it happens, or you want to see it happen. But these days, I don't know, man. We got different reactions to certain things. I felt like this was gonna be a good situation to have, but and my thing is like, why is Terence Crawford name mentioned with more stars than Canelo? Canelo's not mentioned with many stars. His name is only mentioned with Benavidez and Crawford. That's it. That's it. Chris Eubanks, come on, man. That's it. He's only mentioned with 2 stars. Crawford name mentioned with Tim Tszyu, Spence, Jaron Ennis, Canelo. You got Floyd out here talking about Benavidez need to fight Crawford. So yeah, we know what time it is. I guess that's the only guy that people know that'll fight anybody. That's why I said, man, I don't know why a lot of people will have a favorite fighter, and these guys won't even fight everybody. My favorite fighters fight everybody. They don't care when, where, what. Just have the money ready, and I'm not gonna be expensive. You're gonna get your money's worth. The fans doubt these guys the most, but they're the ones out there hey, you getting your money's worth when you messing with these guys. So what's the problem? You're getting paid. What's the issue? And you're getting paid handsomely too. So yeah, Jaron Ennis, man, if he don't fight Terence Crawford, it's gonna be the worst nightmare for everybody. Because then they're gonna say, "Oh man, he ducked Terence Crawford. He didn't want to fight him." They need those 2 guys to fight each other. I mean, the boxing world, they need that fight to happen just so they can cancel each other out. Because if he gets away without fighting Terence Crawford, it may be no one to beat him. It may be no one to beat him. Not outside of America. Not from what I'm hearing. I'm definitely not hearing that. I'm not hearing no outside talent outside of America that can beat Terence Crawford or Jaron Ennis. So that's what I'm getting right now. They done gave up on Tim Tszyu situation. Virgil Ortiz later. That's gonna be down the line. But yeah, to me that makes sense. It makes sense. From the outside looking in, when you see what the fans really about and what they really want and what they're really calling for. But it's not gonna happen though, man. As far as the fight may happen. I mean, whoever wins. I mean, nobody cares about that. But as far as like, the only thing I'm gonna see if Terence Crawford loses to a guy like Jaron Ennis, the only thing I'm gonna see is the people who wanted to see him lose the whole time. And it's gonna be the same people who was mad that he won last year. That's the energy I'm getting right now. And I gotta say it because it's getting pretty obvious at this point. Oh, why don't you just fight Boots? Why, bro? You acting like that's gonna you acting like y'all ain't been saying that Earl Spence was the tougher fight than Boots. Y'all acting like that's punishment or something. Now it's making it seem like everything y'all was saying about Earl Spence was cap. Because last time I heard, as long as I see him do something against Earl Spence, I ain't got to question him no more. But now everybody, what about Boots? What about Boots? All right, man, that fight can happen. I mean, what are you talking about? It's a lot of dudes that's going to have to fight Boots. That's going to turn it down. And y'all ain't going to say nothing. These guys going to turn down Boots. Trust me. Some of your favorite fighters going to end up turning down Boots' fight. It's going to be quick and it's going to be fast. A lot of guys are already doing it now. They're not calling out Boots. Nobody's calling out Boots, man.